one of the best in the world. It takes two to tango, and both these guys went ahead and laid it all on the line. The man next to my right is a reason why boxing is so unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, I turn it over to Errol Spence Jr. here to give opening comments. Errol, he's joined by his trainer, Derek James.
Hello, how's it going? A little off night. The better man won tonight. Not here to make any excuses. Definitely did his thing. My time was off, and I couldn't capitalize on a couple of things, and his time was a lot better than mine tonight.
Turn it over to the media for questions for Errol Spence Jr. Raise your hand and wait until you get the microphone.
Right back there.
Hey, Errol. Andreas here from the Sporting News. Errol, how was the weight cut for this fight? And I wanted to follow that with the second question. If the rematch had to be at 47, I know you said you want to be there again. Are you willing to do this rematch back at welterweight?
It's something I got to talk to my management about, but hopefully it's at 154.
How was this particular weight cut? Was it a very difficult one, or did you feel at ease with the weight cut?
I mean, it's always difficult, but, like I said, I don't make any excuses. The better man won tonight.
One last question. What about Terence surprised you the most? Was it his timing, his power? What surprised you?
Nothing really surprised me. He was just like I thought. It just my timing wasn't good today.
Questions for Errol Spence Jr.?
Hey, Errol, Keith Heideck from BoxingScene.com. What do you attribute your timing not being there to? Did you feel off physically or anything, or what was wrong in the fight?
Yeah, I felt a little off physically, but most times I get through it. So, I thought it was going to be just like the other times, but, I couldn't kick it up a notch.
Errol, Sam Gordon here with the Las Vegas Review-Journal. How would you contextualize or describe Terence's power, and when did you really get a feel for it for the first time tonight?
I got a feel for his power, probably like first, second round. He's a strong dude, but, everybody at this top level have some type of power. But I think because my time was out, he was catching me in between shots.
Errol, Kevin Iole from Yahoo Sports. My question would be, your face was swelling up really badly. Were you having difficulty seeing as the fight progressed?
No, I wasn't having difficulty seeing it at all.
I'm sorry?
I said no, I didn't have difficulty seeing it at all.
Okay. And then lastly, did you feel when the fight started, did you feel good, or did you feel like it was, maybe one of those nights?
I felt cool. I thought, I could definitely do enough to win the fight, but I felt good. And like I said, I'm not here to make any excuses. I'm a grown man. I decided to agree to the weight and get down to it, and that's what I did. So take no excuses. Hats off to the champion tonight.
Errol, straight back. Dan Raphael from Big Fight Weekend. I wanted to know, I know it's only a few minutes removed from the end of the fight. How do you think you're going to deal with this going forward, tomorrow, next week? Are you the kind of guy that's going to just bad night, shake it off, and all is good, or are you going to, stew over this for a while and it's going to hurt bad?
Nah, I'm not going to stew over it at all. I did what I was supposed to do, regardless of the outcome or anything like that. Like I said, I was going to do something, and I promised everybody I was going to do it. So I did it as a man. I stood up on my word, so I'm definitely not going to sulk over this. I'm going to get right back and get to it, hopefully at 154 pounds.
And Errol, even though, we know how big of a fight this was. Everybody talked about the historical significance of this fight all through the build-up, all for the last several years as we waited for it to happen. I wonder, it's happened. You go on the losing side of this one. Does it at least give you some solace to know that you gave the boxing public something that they have wanted for so long, even though obviously it didn't go your way?
Definitely. It was exciting. The whole build up to it. and leading up to it too. So it's something that, you know, I wouldn't change for nothing, and I'm definitely open to the rematch, and hopefully it'll be at 154 pounds.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys. Morgan Campbell from the New York Times. This question is for Derek or for Errol. Once Bud won a couple rounds and he started to get the momentum, what types of tactical adjustments did you guys want to be able to make?
The camera going out is on their side, not mine.
Do our best to take away what he was doing instead of kind of standing in front of him. But I think that Errol, like you can notice, well, I can notice his time was off really bad, and he was standing in front of him. So I think that that's kind of was the thing. It was just the timing. Reaction time was a little slower. But I think that, but it's okay. It's like life, and you come back, you deal with it, and you get better.
Hi, Errol. Dan Matthews from the Daily Mail. I just wondered what you saw in...
Their camera went out. That's not on my end. That's on Showtime's end.
Who are you talking to?
Errol.
Say it again.
I just wondered what aspects of the performance tonight give you confidence that you could change the result even at 154?
Because I know I'm a lot better than what I showed tonight, and I know that a lot of things was off with me, and even though Terence Crawford did what he was supposed to, he was sharp and he was on point, and he made sure he was 100% ready in this fight.
Andrew Jones, ESPN and Anscape. First for Errol, I want to ask you, what did Derek James say to you in terms of supporting you after the fight and how loyal he's been to you? And is this officially your last fight at 147 in your mind?
Yeah, in my mind, it's my last fight at 147 pounds. So, you know, hopefully the next one be at 154. But Derek, you know, just told me that, you know, keep my head up. You know, I was off and, you know, trying to console me like he's supposed to.
And Derek, just in terms of you consoling him and how you feel about this, what's been going to be your process over the next few days to be able to move on and then just go back to the drawing board on it?
Well, you know, I think that in watching it, I had time to understand what was going on. From the first, second round, I kind of saw what was happening, and you kind of like understand, okay, maybe eventually maybe he can catch one with a good shot, maybe he can recover, but it didn't work that way, and it's okay. I mean, it's life. Unfortunate. This is what happens in big-time boxing. Somebody was going to have to be in this situation. Unfortunately, it was us, and we'll got to move on. I mean, I had to fly to London tomorrow, so you know, I'm gonna hold on this for a long time. May not ever get over it till after we revenge it, but it's just what it is. I mean, you know, it's life, and you just got to keep it moving. You got to deal with it, embrace it, and move on.
Got two more questions for Errol Spence Jr. Two more.
Their camera went out. That's not on my end. As you can see, the Showtime logo is right down below, and people in the chat on the stream are upset too that the camera went out.
Marcus Hayes, Fight Hub TV. This question is for Derek James. First, Coach Derek, I want to ask you, we haven't seen Errol take as much punishment as he did tonight. Was there ever a point where you thought about stepping in and stopping the bout?
I just wanted to make sure he was okay, right? I saw him get hit with the big shots, but I think that you can see, for me, I see his legs was a little off, but I really wasn't. But then you think about it, the doctors right there with me, and we're talking back and forth, and they're looking at him, and I'm looking at the doctors, and we're talking. So it's like, you know, not really, but you just never know.
And Errol, we saw you go down a couple of times. When you felt Terence's power, particularly in the second knockdown, when you got up, what was going through your mind at that time?
Shit, just fight back. I mean, I mean, what you mean was going through my mind at the time? It's a boxing match, so, you know, I was trying to block the shots he was throwing and come back with shots, but, I mean, nothing really was going through my mind. It was just, you know, the same stuff.
Last question.
Yeah, they're having camera issues or technical issues. I'm pretty sure they're working on it before Terence Crawford comes out. I'm guessing, obviously, they brought Errol Spence out first because
Cameron
he's got to
Buford,
go
LA
get checked
News
out.
Observer. Errol Spence, would you talk to us about what Terence Crawford said to you after the fight?
I usually ask me that. But he just said, good fight, you know, much respect, and that's about it.
All right, we will allow Errol Spence Jr. to depart. And you know what? Tonight we saw the two best welterweights on the planet colliding. And I give respect to both men because they went ahead and put it all on the line. A round of applause to both Terence Bud Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. for providing us an unbelievable night of boxing here in Las Vegas.
The camera went out. Let's go. Okay, so this is what we're going to do during this post-fight show. We're going to go watch highlights, get Twitter reactions, social media reactions, listen to the post-fight interviews, and break down the fight. I mean, really, what is there to break down? Errol Spence got broke down. I didn't think, you know, throughout the years, I would flip-flop between who I would think would win. My biggest concern for Terence Crawford was he never fought a puncher like Errol Spence. This was before tonight, obviously. We'll talk about that in a minute. And him growing into the weight, he's officially grown into 147 pounds. When he first got there, Jeff Horn, he was considered a small 147 pounder. Other questions are, is Derrick James stretched too thin? Frank Martin, just a couple of weeks ago, his 135-pound contender didn't look good. Errol Spence lost tonight. In 3 weeks, August the 12th, 2 weeks, August the 12th, he has Anthony Joshua taking on Dylan White in a rematch. Anthony Joshua can lose. And then September the 30th, in about a month and a half, he has Jermell Charlo taking on Saul Canelo Alvarez. And then Ryan Garcia returns after that. You know? Now, you could say, well, with Frank Martin, one of those type of losses, I mean, not losses, one of them type of fights were going to come for him eventually where he didn't look too good, a rites of passage type fight. With Errol Spence, as we talked about, no excuses, but we have to talk about he did have a lot of issues leading into tonight. No matter what, the Terence Bud Crawford I've seen tonight would beat Errol Spence before and after the accident like he did tonight. Or Errol Spence's issues. He would have always beaten him, in my opinion. Now, Anthony Joshua has been somewhat damaged goods. Kind of a head case now, so he can lose to Dylan White. Jermell Charlo's moving up to 168 to fight Canelo, but I'm giving Jermell Charlo a chance mostly because Canelo has dealt with a lot of injuries and on his last legs at top level. Not saying Charlo going to beat him. And then he's going to be heavily judged, meaning Derrick James, on how Ryan Garcia looks if he doesn't look good in his next return. So maybe Derrick James may be spread a little too thin. We're waiting for Terence Crawford to show up to the post-fight press conference. Terence Crawford has dealt with a lot of shit from YouTubers, big YouTubers too. Consistent, full-time YouTubers in the boxing community. Mostly because their affiliation and known biases with Premier Boxing Champions. It happened with Deontay Wilder. It really started with Mayweather before PBC was even made. They did it with Deontay Wilder. They did it with Tyson Fury. you know, been kind of doing it with Devin Haney. You know, they build these guys up, and then up Terence Crawford's here.
To get to where I'm at today, to perform in front of each and every one of y'all, I even did things that was different this fight. You know, we did a pre-camp, came out to Vegas, stayed for a month, you know, so I've been working for a long time for just this one moment, so it's never easy.
At which point in the fight did you realize that he wasn't going to be able to do anything with you tonight?
Well, the first round, I felt as if I had the speed and power. I felt, you know, his power, and I felt as if I was the stronger fighter. And, yeah, that's pretty much was it.
Andrew Jones, ESPN, Anscape. Terence and your team, congratulations on a special night. Roy Jones Jr. told me yesterday that if you won this fight, that you'll be up there as one of the all-time best pound for pound. You talked about Andre Ward, Floyd Mayweather era, now your era. Where do you rank yourself all time?
You guys like that shit? Like this guy, woman beater? He must have learned that from his dad. Woman beater, baby. We're going to beat that woman beater.
Pay homage to the fighters that came before.
My bad. I'm going to turn that down. Thanks for the super chat.
Without them, they're beating on me.
I'm going to turn that down.
Wherever they want to put me, you know, I'm up there, you know. It ain't my job to put me where I want to be. It's your job to put me where I belong.
And who came up with the fishnet idea to walk out, and what you told your mom when you...
Thanks, Capri Sun. I'm going to read your super chat in a minute.
...birthday present that you wanted to give her?
No, that's all so cold. Like I said, so cold, everything. He came up with the idea. He said, man, I got you, bro. He designed my last outfit. And I told him, I said, man, that was one of the coldest outfits that I had. And he said, wait till you see this one. I said, oh, all right. And, you know, his creativeness, you know, brought to life along with Everlast. And then you got what you got.
Terence, Kevin Iole from Yahoo Sports. Congratulations on the brilliant performance. I wonder, when you were with Top Rank, there were many years there would be fights on Fox or Showtime, and they would list top welterweights. I guess it was more Fox. They would list top welterweights, and you weren't even on there a lot of the time, and a lot of fans would get upset about that. Do you feel like now when you look back, like, do you feel some sense of vindication that people who overlooked you for so long now, you're at the top of the heap and there's no doubt?
Well, I've been telling each and every one of y'all for years. A lot of y'all over here looking sad. Ellie, you looking like a retarded-ass dude over there because you're going against me. You know what I mean? But all in all, you know, I get to say I told y'all because I've been asking for these fights for years. And y'all been saying, oh, he's too small. He's going to get this. He's going to get broken. And each and every time that I step up, I proved y'all wrong. Each time. So, you know what I mean? Write some great stories about Terence Crawford. Don't hate on him. Don't say nothing negative. Just give me my props.
The other question I wanted to ask, if you could comment about your trainer and the job he did. And Bomac, if you could make a comment about what it feels like for you to win a fight at this level against a guy who is highly respected like Derek James.
Well, I just look at it like this, man. I just look at all the training that we put in, all the months that we put in, and I wasn't never worried. And as far as going up against Derek James, it's an honor. It's an honor. He's it was last year or year before last trainer of the year, and you know, they never really gave us our props. You know, the writers, the reporters, all the websites. So. I mean, I'm just glad. You know, it hasn't sunk in yet, but it will here pretty soon. To me, I just look at it like it's another day, you know. And you also got to give props out to the whole team. You got Saul Dieguez right here. You got Red Spike. Come on, we're up here, Red. You got Bernie the Boxer. You even got Steve So-Called Nelson. You know what I'm saying? He helps out a lot. You know, he sometimes he see what we don't see. You got Chet. Chet, raise your hand. Chet, the strength and condition coach. Where Ashley at? There go Ashley right there. She's another strength and condition coach. We got chefs, we got dietitians, we got everything. It's a team effort. It ain't all about me getting my flowers. If you're going to give me my flowers, you're going to give the whole team the flowers.
Terence, Colin McGuigan for IFL TV. When I've interviewed you before, you've spoke about the moment in your career that you thought was the best, and that was against Ricky Burns. Does tonight eclipse that moment?
No, not at all. Like I said once before, I don't think there ever going to be a moment to actually make me feel the way I felt when I was in Scotland that day, because that was my whole dream. You know, I was filled with so much excitement to go all the way over to Scotland. Me, the little bit of family that I had, my team, and to come back a world champion, something that I dreamed of all my life as a kid. My dreams came true that one night. And this is definitely up there because this is a fight that's been talked about for many years. This is a fight that when I walk in the store, my kids watching YouTube, everybody asks me, when you fighting Spence? When you fighting Spence? Dad, this dude said you scared of Spence. So me always having to hear this guy's name is like a breath of fresh air that I get to breathe because we finally done it, and now it's done and over with.
Terence, straight back here, all the way in the back. Dan Rayfield from Big Fight Weekend. Congratulations, incredible performance from you tonight. My question for you is, you won so easily, and he says he wants the rematch. How do you go about getting yourself up once again to take on a guy you just completely destroyed?
Well, one thing about me, I don't take no fighter lightly. So I'm always up for each and every one of the fighters that I'm facing. And y'all know that from the past of my performances and how I come in the ring 110% prepared every time I step foot in the ring.
And just one other question for you. Once you get past Errol, you know, once that chapter is closed, if you have the rematch, have you even allowed yourself a moment to think at any time, like what else is out there for you? Is it a championship at 54, a specific fighter, perhaps middleweight someday? What other sort of goals do you have besides what you've done so much already?
I don't know. In 2 months, I'll be 36 years old. I've been boxing since I was 7 years old. I've been doing sports all my life since I was 7. You know, I don't know. I got to sit down with my team and talk about the future.
All right, so now we have a very special presentation to award Terence Bud Crawford the undisputed welterweight champion.
Oh, we got a lot to talk about. We're going to get highlights, everything. Let's finish this first.
Legendary Ring Magazine championship being presented to Terence Bud Crawford of Omaha, Nebraska.
Yes, sir.
Terence, you know, when you see that, the lineage, and now it belongs to you.
I love it. I love it. To be honest, I wish they would have kept it original. But it is what it is. You know, I'm the #1 fighter in the division.
They want to see it.
And it's stamped right here. So for all you guys that doubted me, for all you guys that said I was too small, I was actually too strong. and now everybody, you know, I mean, they get to witness greatness, like I said before, and it's the Terence Crawford era.
Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to Terence Bud Crawford, Brian Bomack McIntyre, and the entire Crawford team. Congratulations, guys. All the best, and thank you very much to all the media for covering Spence Crawford Fight Week, and thank you so much for joining us here in Las Vegas. What a historic night, as Terence Bud Crawford is the undisputed welterweight champion of the world for the first time in the 4-belt era, the first male boxer to be undisputed in 2 divisions Terence Bud Crawford remaining undefeated here tonight in Las Vegas. Congratulations to Terence Crawford, and thank you to the media for joining us. Good night, everybody.
We got a lot to talk about. Highlights. We're going to go listen to the post-fight interviews, fighter reactions. Errol Spence losing tonight means it's the ripple effect of this has shooken up boxing from 135 all the way up to 160, especially over at PBC. And the way Errol Spence got beaten, what kind of fighter is he going to be? What kind of fighter is he going to be after this? Errol Spence got beat up. I got to be honest with you. I followed and covered this whole saga. I'm thinking like, damn. Like, these are all the videos I've done on the whole Errol Spence, Terence Crawford saga from fucking, look how young and full of life I was back then. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. This is directly after Terence Crawford versus Hank Lundy. Look at look, I'm just thinking like it's over after all these years. Look, him fighting, me paying for this pay-per-view, Crawford versus Postol, directly after Crawford Postol, 7 years ago.
9 rounds to 10.
Like crazy. You know, all these fights. I've spoken to Terence Crawford several times.
Press the fight just like he kept going back to the ropes. But you did that. Huh?
Like crazy. And to see all of this just come full circle like this. I was talking to Andre Ward, like crazy. It's over. And you know, I'm so happy that it's ended in such a decisive way. That it's like it wasn't a draw, it wasn't no controversy. It's just that one man clearly won and he dominated. And he dominated. So to be able to to live this whole saga, I covered Terence Crawford when he fought Ricky Burns over in Scotland. That was on the other channel I was on. I don't know what happened to the chat. It'll be back up. But now we got to break all this down because it's some fighters you can see getting beat up, but I never thought there'd come a day where I would see Errol Spence not get stopped, not just get stopped, but get beat up. Beat up. And his opponent, Terence Crawford, him and his family, they dancing in the ring. Like, I'm talking about dropped 3 times off of a jab, an uppercut, a hook. Your nose busted open, your face beat up. Outclassed, outschooled, not one punch that you thrown really made a mark or even wobbled or stunned. I never thought I'd see a day where Errol Spence would get not just dominated, dismantled, destroyed. Destroyed. So, bear with me here, and hopefully my stream doesn't crash on my 8-month, 9-month-old $3,000 gaming PC here. But I'm going to open up my cable and my DVR, and we're going to relive it. We're going to go back and listen to the post-fight interviews, watch some high definition. Up here it is right here. High definition highlights. Let me rewind. The rewind on this shit is a little janky. See, look, I got to rewind back fucking 12 hours or some shit. Like, wild. But, whew. Take your time out, like the video, subscribe. I'm TstreeT Controversy with Fight View 360. So let me get this out of the way. I thought that Terence Crawford was overall the better fighter. Like better boxer, better technician. It seemed like he wanted it more. We know that now. My concerns about Errol Spence that I talked about all week. Now, we got to make sure that we're not making excuses. Because as it stands this day, and I have dozens and dozens of videos where I would flip-flop between who would win between Spence versus Crawford. My number one issue with Crawford at one point in time was, is he too small? I never went to the lengths of some YouTubers or many YouTubers or Crawford naysayers and be like, oh, disrespecting him. Sometimes YouTubers can get a little, but I said, some concerns. But then as he's gotten older and better and the way we've been seeing him grow into the division, the same Terence Crawford tonight would have beat Errol Spence before the accident or before Errol Spence started drinking. Now, Errol Spence flipped out a Ferrari, an accident last year, ran over by his girlfriend because he was cheating, so she says. The drinking issues that we've heard about, what else? The retina. But that's how Errol Spence always looks, even with the body shots, how he tries to punch through you and they stick. That's how he always looks tonight. It's just that he's just not better than Terence Crawford. He never was. And we see why he was kept away for so long. Now, I've said it. I'll go ahead and say it. I feel that PBC intentionally froze him out. But if you think about it, why have him fight Sean Porter before Errol Spence fight him? Why give him that food? Why have him fight Giovanni Garcia before Errol Spence fight him? Why give him that food? But they knew what they were doing. Playing with Terence Crawford record without really playing with it. It's like, all right, we're sending you over John Molina. John Molina show up fat. We're sending you over Felix Diaz. These were PBC fighters at the time. All right, Sean Porter, we still don't really know what was going on with that situation. I don't, at least. But in a rematch, by the way, I'm trying to it's rewinding back, but it's rewinding back really fucking slow. So luckily for me, or for you guys, I'm gonna have to restart my cable box. Look, shit fucking, hold on, give me a minute. All right, here. All right, we're almost there. We're rewinding. Just give it a minute. It's really slow, so just bear with me. Just bear with me. It's really slow. They're restarting the event over, so I have to rewind. Just bear with me. So anyway, there was a two-way rematch clause. Errol Spence says he's going to take the rematch. Errol Spence has got to heal up first. Realistically, when can the rematch happen? Do you see it happening in December? I don't. Especially if Joshua versus Wilder is supposed to be happening. January, maybe the beginning of February, maybe they market it around Super Bowl time. But with the way that this fight looked, do you want to see it again? Because the result, like, he's going to just beat him up again. He's going to just beat him up again. Let's go look at some of these knockdowns on social media. That was ugly. My gosh. He beat that shit out that boy, man. And you had Jamel Charlo just looking just miserable ringside. Just miserable. Just miserable. gotta bear with me, guys. This shit is still rewinding. You gotta bear with me, guys. This shit is still rewinding. Is it? Did it stop? I hate Verizon Fios. Don't get me wrong. You know, I've been having issues with them for some time. But anyway, Errol Spence wants to fight at 154 pounds. Here, let's do it this way while it's rewinding. Here is my immediate reaction after the fight. But look, damn, look at the thumbnails they using, bro. Look at his face. Look at the thumbnails they using. He got his ass beat. All right, then we're gonna do it this way. So here is the post-fight interviews from both fighters. I was actually surprised that Errol Spence stuck around and then didn't send him off to the hospital.
2 seconds.
We're gonna start here while this other side is rewinding.
In round number 9, our referee in charge, Harvey Doc, stops the contest. He is the winner by way of technical knockout. He is still undefeated.
No, Fio's internet is fast, but on cable, the rewind is slow as shit. Like, it's slow as fuck.
And now, the undisputed welterweight champion of the world, Terence Crawford.
He beat the shit out of Errol Spence Jr. Hey, listen. Let's listen to the post-fight interview first. Whew. That was ugly.
Terence Bud Crawford, your name is now in the history books, a name that'll never be forgotten. How would you describe this totally dominant performance?
Man, like I said before, I want to give an honor to God because without him, none of this would be possible. Man, I'm so blessed. I swear. Like I said before, I only dreamed of being a world champion. I'm an overachiever. Nobody believed in me when I was coming up, but I made everybody a believer. And
You guys like that shit? Like this guy, woman beater? He must have learned that from his dad. Woman beater, baby. We're going to beat that woman beater.
My bad. I got to turn that down. Thanks for the super chat, Lincoln. Give me a minute. I'm going to read it. Just give me a minute. Let's finish listening to this. I got to rewind it back a little bit. But this is the post-fight interview from the fight. Obviously, I can't show the full video because since it's a pay-per-view, it will be... Oh, wait. Hold on. Let's listen to what Big J has to say. Hold on. All right, mate. We're live. What did you think about the fight?
Well, absolutely dominant performance by Terence Bud Crawford, and he has proved without a shadow of a doubt that he's pound for pound the #1 fighter in the world, and probably, you'd have to put an argument for one of the greatest of all time, wouldn't you? So
yeah, I mean, did you think it was going to go like that though? Like, you know, the way he beat him up?
No, I thought that he was going to. Here's the thing, all right, and this is going to. I'll say this first because this is going to piss a lot of people off. Jeff Horn lasted longer and better than what Spence did. And Jeff Horn was considered nothing. So think about that for 5 seconds. Let that sit in for 5 seconds. But did I think it was going to go like that? I thought it would have gone probably about 11 rounds before Crawford got him. But here's the thing about Errol Spence. All right, and this is not his fault. Those injuries that Spence has got have caught up with him. That's his problem. It's not his age, it's his injuries. As a man speaking from experience, it's not age that breaks you down, it's injuries. And injuries get worse with time. And the car crash, and what else has he gone through? The substance problems that he's had. 2 car crashes.
Remember, when he had that car crash, it was actually a DUI. He had to do community service. So you could say, you know, not living, you know, the best life outside of the ring. With the
self-inflicted stupidity. So, well, if it's DUI, it's self-inflicted stupidity. So there's no point sugarcoating it. He was doing the wrong thing. So, but yeah, I mean, besides that, all those things have caught up with him. If he was uninjured at 33, I think that fight would have gone a lot differently. I still think Spud probably would have got him, but not like this, because unfortunately for Errol Spence, and it's unfortunate, but all those injuries have caught up with him, and now a lot of people are going to think he's food. Tim Tszyu included, because Tim Tszyu started going after him, a couple of months ago?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and as I said before, PBC have fucked up, because did I not say when Canelo was announced that they should have waited till the end of this fight?
Mm-hmm.
So PBC have shot themselves in the foot, and I think you said it before that this fight has put a ripple effect through about 4 to 6 divisions.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is backfired in PBC's face big time.
Yeah, and especially with the dominating fashion of it, because we can only expect for the rematch to go the same way. And Crawford is not a PBC fighter. He only has this one more fight left with PBC, and that's if Spence takes it. He says he's going to take it, but if he doesn't, then Crawford walks away controlling basically the 135, 140, and those are the guys that eventually want to be at 147 one day. And one fight, wild. But remember, Spence pushed for this fight. They wanted him to fight Keith Thurman. He pushed for this fight. You got to commend him, because this is a fight he wanted.
Damn right.
He broke through, the political barriers. He gave Terence Crawford the money he wanted and said, listen, I want this fight. I'm not fighting nobody else. But the layoffs, the accident, the not living a necessarily clean life, even though we want to give Terence Crawford his flowers, and I'm going to go ahead and say it right here, looking at, I think that Terence Crawford would have beaten him before all of this shit now from what I've seen. Maybe it wouldn't have looked as bad as domination, but I still think that Terence Crawford would have beat him.
I agree 100%. I think regardless, Bud would have got him anyway, because just the superior skill of the man is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, he's off the charts with skill. And, you're absolutely right. All these unfortunate incidents caught up with Spence, and it's unfortunate. But you got to give him props. The man did what he was supposed to do. As Ric Flair says, to be the man, you've got to beat the man, and Spence wanted the man. And you've got to take your hat off to him. He had the guts and the balls to say, nah, fuck it. I'm going to get in the ring with Crawford, test myself against the best. And, yeah, he didn't avoid the fight by going and fighting Keith Thurman, who probably would have beat the piss out of.
Yeah.
He took on the best fight he could. He gave the fans what they want, which is the number one thing that you've got to do. The one thing that you can't do in any sport is piss the fans off.
Yeah.
And boxing's notorious for it. They piss us off on a daily basis. So, but Spence said, nah, I'm going to do the right thing by myself, by Crawford, by the fans, by everybody else, because everyone would have made a heap of money over this. So, find me a negative of this fight besides, unfortunately, Spence getting the piss kicked out of him. It's everyone wins.
Yeah.
It's a huge positive, and there should be more of it. So.
Well, realistically, when do you think the rematch can happen? I'm thinking around February, and they might even push it off a little further to give Spence as much time, maybe as far as March or April, the rematch.
The one thing I'm thinking about is, does Bud want to sit on his heels until then?
Yeah.
I mean, now that, because I have to say I wasn't exactly happy when Bud went from 140 to 147 without defending the Undisputed title.
Mm-hmm.
So I hate it when boxers do that. I mean, they get Undisputed and they piss off. It's like, well, what's the point of winning it?
Well, Spence wants the fight to happen, the rematch to happen at 154. But he's not going to have no say, for real, unless Crawford says, all right, I'll beat you at 154 too.
Well, how is Spence going to win the rematch? I don't know. Is there a way he could beat Bud? I don't think so. And at 154, he's going to have even more power behind his punches.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, look, you got to remember, right? If you go up in weight, not only do you have to carry your power, you have to carry your punch resistance as well. And not a lot of people think about that. Remember Brock Jarvis? That was his problem.
Yeah.
He moved up, got the shit kicked out of him. So a lot of fighters don't realise, if I move up, my power has to go up, but my punch resistance also has to go up. I mean, okay, both guys have never fought 154, but still, I don't necessarily think. And how's that fight going to be marketable 154? There's no belts on the line. Why would they do it 154? That's just stupid. There's no belts on the line.
Well, you know, one of them sanctioning bodies. I won't be surprised if they said, you know what, we got to go ahead and strip Jamel, make Tim Tszyu the champion, and then have Crawford and Spence fight for the WBO interim or the WBC interim. So they're going to make sure a belt is on the line. But Steven Espinoza, the president of Showtime Sports, said in an interview with a KO Artists channel earlier this week during the fight week that pretty much all the details are ironed out for the rematch, so they don't have to worry about going back to that. So I'm guessing they must have in mind the rematch must happen by a certain date. You know, because right now the clock is ticking. Spence already said in a post-fight interview he wants the rematch, but he has officially 30 days to actually confirm it.
Well, I'm glad to see these boys have not mucked around and put their heads together and really nutted all this out beforehand.
Yeah.
So it seems like these guys know exactly what they're doing and they want it to happen, and it's just going to flow the way it should. I mean, this is the way it always should be. These boys have already knotted out the rematch before the first fight was even fought.
Yeah.
Smart. So can Spence win the rematch? No, I think Crawford's just going to give him another hiding, which is going to be unfortunate. Yeah, that's my opinion. What do you think?
I have no interest in seeing the rematch the way this just went, and I think that Crawford's going to stop him, depending on how. I mean, if Spence comes out to fight a smarter fight, I just don't see him beating Crawford. I think he's just going to get stopped again with the way he looked, and especially if Crawford decides to get aggressive. He didn't look like, you know, like he went into another gear. He just was so calm and poised throughout the whole fight. But since we got to move on, Big J, last question. If you were to pick one of the fighters to win, if they were to fight today, who would you pick between Terence Crawford and Jamel Charlo?
Oh, shit. Good question. I think Crawford would get him.
Mm-hmm.
I think Crawford would get him. I think that Crawford. Charlo's had too much time sitting on his ass doing bugger all. Because if I think Tim Tszyu can beat him, which I've said on record, Crawford would annihilate him.
Okay.
I'd love to see Crawford versus Tszyu. That's the fight I want to see now.
I was going to ask you that too. How do you feel about Crawford versus Tszyu if it would have happened today?
Today? Nah, Bud would still get him.
Okay.
I think it would be a very entertaining fight, but I think Bud would still get him. Because, as good as Tim Tszyu's resume has been in the last two fights, he still hasn't fought anyone. He's never fought a world champion.
Okay.
Or anyone that's had a long reigning. How many fights in a row has Bud had world title fights?
18 and
10, 11, 12?
He's 18 and 0 now.
18 and 0, yeah.
With 15 KOs. 18 and 0 in title fights with 15 KOs.
Tim hasn't even fought one world champion yet. Current world champion yet. So, yeah, I think Bud would take care of him. And that's,
all right, Big
all
J.
the love to Tim Tszyu, but I think most people would agree with that.
All right, gotta let you go. You can follow Big J at Old Mate Big J on Twitter. We cover Australian boxing, and we will be back soon covering Anthony Joshua versus Felix Hergovitz versus Dempsey McKean on Anthony Joshua versus Dylan White too. All right, thanks for calling in, Big J. Talk to you later.
No worries, mate. Sam.
All right, so let's go back to the post-fight interviews from both fighters, and I actually have it. I've been fast-forwarding to the main event. So this is the end of the Isaac Cruz, Giovanni Cabrera fight. So we're going to listen to the post-fight interviews, watch some highlights, listen to the post-fight press conference from Errol Spence for those who didn't see it, and he just didn't look good. He didn't look good. So now, as me and Big J was talking about, it's like how the ripple effect of this has affected the whole 147 and 154 pound division. And depending on how long Crawford's going to stay around, today was actually the first time in the post-fight press conference he kind of hinted at retirement sometime soon. I think that, he'll fight Spence again, possibly Jamel Charlo, and maybe try to attempt to become undisputed at 154 pounds, and then he'll retire. Now, here's a question. If he goes and beats Spence again and beats Jamel Charlo and maybe fights Boots Ennis, maybe. Like, what does he have to do for you to possibly, just hear me out, put him past or up there with Floyd Mayweather? Because what he's doing out there, and remember, he'll be 36. Like the way he just dismantled Errol Spence right there. I mean, I'm still, you know, at a loss for words. You know, by the way, we're fast forwarding here. I gave Errol Spence only round number 1 because that just was a filling out round. But to be knocking him down off of jabs, you know, defensively, Spence couldn't do nothing. Spence was looking befuddled, you know? Like crazy to me. Here, let me see. What round are we in? Like, look, he was in there beat up. Oh wait, let me pause it right here. Hold on. I want you to see his face. Like, look at him. Like, I would have never thought I would see Errol Spence looking like that. Like, he was getting ran down on. The big fish got gutted. I guess you can catch a shark with a fishing net. You had Jamel Charlo just sitting ringside looking real. Look, let me show you where he at. Y'all see him? Right over here. I'm talking about he was invested. My man was invested. Like shit. So let me know in the chat. Who's been crying? What YouTuber's been having a breakdown? What social media person been having a breakdown? You know, they shit on Bud Crawford for years. Calling him a coon and all that type shit. Oh my gosh, look at him. Damn, Errol. Damn. All right. Oh, yeah, the fight's about to be over. All right, let's go relive the magic. Bud Crawford is 18-0 with 17 KOs, correct, in his last year. I'm pretty sure he is, with 15 KOs. Because he came into the fight 17-0 with 14 KOs. I saw the graphic. And there it is. Here's the stoppage.
To become a two-division undisputed champion, and it was a virtuoso performance by a man, yes, Naoya Inoue looked sensational in stopping Stephen Fulton in his first fight at 122 pounds, but when you take a look at this fight going into it, what Errol Spence represented, Terence Bud Crawford is the pound-for-pound king. Terence Bud Crawford is one of the best I've ever seen don the gloves.
I mean, the way he dismantled him, the way he beat him up round after round. I mean, just brilliant performance from Errol.
I want to hear what they said. Look at his face, man.
Seen don the gloves.
I mean, the way he dismantled.
That is a screenshot for the ages. Let me just go ahead and screenshot that right now. Hold on, give me 1 minute. Let me get my little screenshot going. Don't mind me. There we go. All right. Perfect. Perfect. It's my Vince McMahon.